How to add or subtract fractions with different denominators. I have written the steps down here, but I will demonstrate as I'm reading the steps off. Step number 1, multiply the bottoms. Remember, the bottoms are called the denominators. So the first problem, multiply the bottoms. I have a 2 on the bottom and a 4. 2 times 4 is 8. When you multiply the bottoms, this forms your new bottom, your new denominator. Step 2, multiply the top of the first with the bottom of the second. So we're going to multiply 1 times 4, and we're going to put this right here. 1 times 4 is 4. So we're going to multiply the top of the first fraction with the bottom of the second fraction. This forms my new top of the first. Step 3, multiply the bottom of the first with the top of the second. 2 times 1 is 2. This forms my new top of the second fraction. Now, if you look what we just did, we found a common denominator. It might not necessarily be the least common denominator, but we did find a common denominator. As soon as we have two fractions with the same bottoms, we can go on to adding fractions with the same bottoms. Step number 4, add or subtract the tops. Well, we're adding, so 4 plus 2 equals 6 as the top. Step 5, don't change the bottom. The bottoms are the same. It's going to stay as an 8. And step 6, last step for all fractions are reduce if you can. Both of these fractions, both of these parts of the fractions, the top and the bottom, can be divided by 2. So 6 divided by 2 is 3, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. The final answer here is 3/4. Let's try the next one. Step number 1, multiply the bottoms. I have a 6 and a 5 on the bottom. 6 times 5 is 30. This forms my two new bottoms. I have a 30, I have a 30, two bottoms of a fraction, and there is subtraction between them. Step 2, multiply the top of the first with the bottom of the second fraction. This forms my new top of the first. 5 times 5 is 25. Step 3, multiply the bottom of the first with the top of the second. See how this turns out to be a nice pretty little picture here. This is not cross multiply. Some people will mistake this with cross multiply. This is just using the cross method, but it's not called cross multiply. Cross multiply is when you have a equal sign in the middle. So 6 times 2 is 12, and we have a 12 right here. Step 4, add or subtract the tops. We're doing subtraction since the bottoms are the same. 25 minus 12 equals 13. Step 5, don't touch my bottom. The bottom's 30. It's going to stay as a 30. And the last step, reduce if you can. I cannot reduce this fraction, so I leave it alone. I've got 2 more examples to go over. Here we are. So let's try both of these. One's an add and one's a subtract. Step 1, multiply the bottoms. 9 times 12 is 108. Ooh, this is a big number. And we have a plus between them. Step 2, multiply the top of the first with the bottom of the second. 5 times 12 is 60. Step 3, multiply the bottom of the first with the top of the second. And I get 18. Step 4, add or subtract the tops. This is an add problem, so we're going to add the top. 60 plus 18 is 78. Step 5, don't touch my bottom. And step 6, reduce if you can. And you can check the reducing of this, but you can divide the top and bottom both by 6. So I'm going to reduce by 6. And I end up with 78 divided by 6 is 13. And 108 divided by 6 is 18. Final answer is 13 over 18. The last problem, step number 1, multiply the bottoms. 3 times 6 is 18. Step 2, multiply the top of the first with the bottom of the second. 2 times 6 is 12. Step 3, multiply these two. 3 times 1 is 3. The next step, we're going to add or subtract. This is a subtraction problem. 12 minus 3 is 9. Step 5, don't touch my bottom. It's going to stay as an 18. I reduce this. Both 9 and 18 both divide by 9. And our final answer for this problem is 9 divided by 9 is 1. 18 divided by 9 is 2. 1/2. That's how you add and subtract fractions with different bottoms. I know many of you teachers say you need to find the least common denominator on the bottom, but if you use this method, you will find a common denominator. It's not always going to be the least, but you'll find a common denominator. You just have to reduce at the end. You will always get the right answer using this method. Thank you for watching this video.